Wel Welcome back to my real farm. Here's talking about conservation earlier, and this is what we do on our farm with my dad and I and my uncle. What we do for conservation. Behind me is this piece here. If you can see it, we used to farm all this. It was 22, 23 acres of farm ground. We have a lift pump station about a half a mile behind us here, or in front of me. We actually we have tile run through here. And we'll actually, in the springtime when we're trying to go, we have basically like a big sump pump. And we'd suck the water out of the bottom here and we'd farm it. Problem is, even with that, after about 1 out of 7 years, we'd actually get a crop out of it. It'd be so much water that got rained that it'd flood out, and our tile system couldn't keep up. And so we made a conscious decision, instead of trying to make a bigger pump and suck more water, we actually, behind us, broke the tile, put it in a conservation program, and so it's got a lifetime easement. What we'll show you next is a dam that my aunts and uncles and father all donated the land for. And this is the land that we had to switch with the conservation programs. You need so many acres of wetlands if you take a certain class of wetland out. So we took some wetland out to build another wetland. It's very complicated, but we needed extra wetland. So we took this land out of production and made it into permanent wetland. So this now will never become farmland again. We turned it back into the wetland it was beforehand, and cut all the tiles and everything. And if we turn to in front of me, behind the camera, this is actually CRP. Looks the same, everything's the same. This one we farm, believe it or not, could farm more often, even though there's water in it. Same lift pump system, but we turned off the lift pump. So now this is all conservation reserve program. You hear a lot of talk about acres coming out and people are going to farm it. There's a lot of acres like this that are fringe acres that we don't farm real well, that we get payments for to keep in conservation, and it'll stay in conservation. This is not we're not planning on taking this out. It'll probably be in for its life, even though it's a revolving 15-year contract. This is pretty much going to stay, and we, as you can see, we farm the good parts, and we still do the conservation tillage practices on those parts, on those hilly parts, so that dirt doesn't run down and get into the water system. The nutrients stay up on the hill because we farm the soil that needs to be farmed, and now we're conserving, create habitat, water quality, and as you can see, it's kind of pretty in the landscape. So thank you, and we're going to go over to our big desilting basin dam, which is the end of the line here before the city of Worthington and the golf course, to protect any nutrients that get by our conservation practices, to stop and hold them there before it runs down into the water supply. The real story. I'm Bill again. Here you're looking at basically what we call our desilting basin. Earlier we stopped at the two conservation areas where the CRP and the reserve program where we put the other piece in permanently. This is the end of the line for that water system. Basically all the water you saw up there that runs off the landscape comes down through this desilting basin. There are 3 actual ponds, one up by the road, one in the middle, and then this large one you're seeing now, and designed to catch any nutrients or any dirt that really comes through that we can't catch. Mother Nature, she sloughs off her own dirt. We even help catch that. So we help prevent the flooding and different events that come through in the nutrients. We're actually standing on the earthen dam, and we built this earthen dam. My aunts and my father and uncle, they actually donated these 30-some acres of farm ground and wetland to the state of Minnesota. And then the state of Minnesota came in then with a grant and built actually this earthen structure you sit on. And we put the CRP, as you can look behind me here, that's all CRP also. All that's in the reserve program. We don't farm it anymore. Again, farming the best, conserving the rest. And we'll go across, and if you look back, and the whole purpose of this whole dam was to slow water down, to catch the nutrients, and you can see Worthington Municipal Golf Course, Prairie View Golf Course right there. What was happening is these huge rain events that we've gotten lately in these last 10 years or so, the water would run through here, run off our farm ground, run through the streams, take all the nutrients that the golf course puts on and dump in our Lake Okabena, which then goes into Lake Bella, which is the water supply for the city of Worthington. So we were getting silt buildup and also nutrient buildup that we didn't need. Not all from the farm ground. A lot of it's from the nature, Mother Nature herself, and natural background, but it still was happening. So to be proactive, instead of somebody blaming the farmers or blaming the city or blaming the golf course, we did this approach. We tried to slow the water down going across. In the last 15 years, there's a spillway. We've actually still even used the emergency spillway 3 times. That means we've had rain events in that 6 inches in less than 4 or 5 hours in the last 15 years. We had to use emergency spillway where water actually came around and still went across the golf course. That tells you how much water this land down here can take, and sometimes happens in these events. But anyway, so this is what the end of our conservation program is, kind of the bottom of our farm ground. There's more, of course, down south of Worthington, goes into the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. But this is our part of our conservation, and you can hear the geese again in the background. They like the habitat that we create, and thank you again for joining me on my real story, and we appreciate the time that you give. And when you get a chance, thank a farmer, and keep eating. We love it. Bye.